Wednesday. Jason Avant. Jason,
Let's go.
How you been, man?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Oh,
we're good, man. We got a little, you know, we going at it a little bit this morning.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right, so we got a lot.
I think Mike Parsons overrated too.
You know what?
No.
We're not having this conversation.
No, I agree. Let me leave it alone, Joe. Let me leave it alone.
I'm on an island here, and you know what? We'll hold that.
No.
We'll hold that.
He's a good player.
He obviously is good. All right, so AJ. It's a big one here, DeVonta on the other side, AJ here. Jason, your take on this as the Eagles go into an offseason where it seems like things have settled down, but you never know what AJ. Do you think it's a good idea to bring him back next year?
I don't know if it's about him being a good fit or being a good idea as much as it is his contract. I just think that the Eagles are not in a position to – go with, $27 million in dead cap if they trade him 43, if they, those numbers are just, staggering. And I don't know if you can do that. Now, they did give up a lot of dead cap money when it came to trading Carson Wentz.
It was the biggest in the history of the league at that time.
At that time, right? And you saw the results over the next few years. So do I think that he should come back? I'm going to leave the fans up to that. But here's what I will say, is that A.J. Brown is – very unpredictable. He has a personality that I don't know if you can please, and I don't know if things go bad. Well, I do know. Let's stop.
We've seen that. Yeah.
I know when things are not going right. Sean Mannion comes in and he is not firing on all cylinders. We know one person that will be disgruntled. That would be A.J. Brown, because he can be, nonchalant in a Super Bowl win, or where the team's on an 8-game winning streak, he can, pop off. So I don't necessarily know if that is a good fit for any team, that personality trait.
Let's unpack the Sean Mannion thing, because it's the first time we've had you in since the Eagles named their new offensive coordinator. Let's first jump off AJ and if you're Mannion, because I was thinking about this morning when we started the show. My brain is kind of conflicted, because if I'm Sean Mannion, I want the most good players to work with, right? That's pretty obvious. But on the other hand, I want a group of players that wants to buy into what I'm selling and run the plays and do exactly what I'm trying to ask them to do to get this system in. Put yourself in Mannion's position. If Howie comes to you and says, "What do you think?" Are you saying, "Yeah, I want A.J. Brown"? Or are you saying, do what you got to do?
If I'm Sean Mannion, I want to meet with A.J. Brown.
Okay.
I need to figure out his.
You said that when he first got the job.
Yeah, see where your head is.
So I want to see what type of person he is and try my best to glean how can I work with this player. But it's tough, man. You get tired after a while. I don't know. We've all had I don't know. Back in the day, you had the prettiest girl. After a while, it gets tiring.
I mean, you're dating her, but she a headache. But you like hanging out with her.
But she look good. So you bypass a few things every now and again. But one day you just like, dude,
I'm out.
It's just not worth it.
Yep.
You feel like that's where we.
I think that sometimes that's the case with A.J. Brown. It's like, man, he's great when he's great, but there's always going to be some problem. And especially when you're a young offensive coordinator, you need to take control and know that, people have your back. And if things are going bad, we know that he'll point the gun at someone else.
Well, he will, and he has. Now, if they did move on, Jason, it would put the spotlight on DeVonta Smith, right, to take a leap. And even if they added another receiver, whether it be free agency or through the draft, when I look at DeVonta, I think there's more to him. I think if he was the number one, he could do more. And I'm curious what you think of how he'll play in this new system. And if it did come to it where they moved on from AJ and DeVonta is the one, do you think there's another level to DeVonta Smith?
Yeah, I think when you start getting down this coaching tree of guys that he's come from under, right? So when you have Matt LaFleur, who's one of the best play callers in the NFL, especially when it comes to man-to-man and being able to devise concepts, I think that helps DeVonta out a lot, but he doesn't need a bunch of help and assistance. He just needs more targets. He needs more opportunities, and I think he can take that next step. So do I think we have 1A and 1B at receiver? Yeah, I definitely think that. And I think at times in certain route concepts that he should be 1A the entire time. Right? Because he does everything when it comes to route running. He does that way better than A.J. Brown.
Right.
My question to you is this.
He does that. And I think with the new system, it can help both players out because those guys are running free a lot, and they're a big shot team as well, a big play action team.
If you're Coach Mannion and you had a choice, I know money is a big issue when it comes to this A.J. Brown situation, but if money was not a factor, would you try to make it work with A.J. Brown, or are you at the point when you see it on film and everything, you just move on?
If it was me personally?
Yes.
If it was me and I'm looking at this and money was not an object and money will not hurt my team going further, I'm getting rid of him right away. If it was me. Mm-hmm. If it was me.
You just feel like it's just at the point now where you really can't do nothing with that.
You can't have a legitimate, truthful, buy-in environment with a player that can always go outside of the rules and that can always make it about him rather than a team. You can't really have an environment like that. I don't know many winning teams that has a player that's bigger than a team. When you look at guys like Randy Moss, he's never won a Super Bowl. You look at Terrell Owens, guys who are great at this. They didn't win. Chad Johnson, great. They got a lot of targets, got the ball, did a lot.
Yep.
But it takes a level of buy-in that lesser guys get it done with a team. And look at this. And here's the big thing, right? Look at what the Seattle Seahawks has done. Sam Darnold's a good quarterback. He wasn't the reason they won.
Nah.
Nope.
And that's how the Eagles play football. The Eagles play football that way, where Jalen Hurts does not have to be the premier person in order to win ball games. And I think if you create an environment where it's about the team, you're going to have longer-term success than placating to one particular person.
Do you think, just let's use the Seahawks as a jumping-off point, they bring in that scheme with Kubiak last year, right? They bring in Sam Darnold. They moved off of DK Metcalf to feature Jackson Smith and Jigba. Jason, do you think we're getting to a point with the Eagles? Because when I listened to Howie's press conference at the end of the season, he was talking about the natural arc of the team and kind of how they have young defensive players that have to get paid. My take on it, just as a fan, is it feels like the last 4 or 5 years, they have won a lot with talent on offense more than scheme. And it feels like they're about to flip that over, where they try to win with scheme more than just talent. I mean, the offensive line is getting older. Who knows how long Lane's going to be here? I don't think AJ's going to be here for much longer. So it feels to me like they're setting it up to where maybe they don't have as many brand names on offense, but the scheme is now how they're going to win. Do you feel they're kind of headed that way too? And is that the way to do it?
Well, you hope that. You hope that's the case, because it's inevitable for you to go that way because you have so many looming contracts, right? You got to think about Jalen's extension. You got Jalen Carter.
Yep.
You have a bunch of guys that need to be paid. So you need a younger team. And the way to get the best out of younger players is dynamic coaching. And that's what you see, like Mike McDonald figuring out, okay, I can play defense. And like he said that in the press conference, being able to stop the run in the split safeties where there's no single field safety, is cover 4, whatever it may be, cover 2.
Yep.
That's a superpower. So when you think of like the way that the league is going, you're going to have to, in the way the Eagles are structured, you're going to have to be able to devise a scheme that's going to get guys open and play with lesser talent.
So we're sitting here with Jason Avant with us on Whiteout Wednesday. We had a debate Monday right after the Super Bowl. Has the league flipped here, Jason?
That's gonna be a good one.
3 years in a row, the team that won the Super Bowl, their defense was better than their offense. I mean, obviously 3 years ago it was Mahomes, so that one's kind of its own thing. But that year, the Chiefs' defense was kind of the driving force of their team. Obviously, the Eagles last year, Seahawks this year. There was a long time where offense was ahead. Is it a defensive league now?
No, it's a team league. And yes, the defense is it's the biggest part. They always say that defense wins championships, right? But it's a team league. And here's the thing that I hate about this league is that we glorify the quarterback entirely too much. The quarterback is one portion of it. He may be a bigger portion depending on the team, but you can win a Super Bowl without a dynamic quarterback.
Right.
You can. Like we've seen that multiple years.
Yep.
Yeah,
that you can
true.
win a Super Bowl without a dynamic quarterback. So if you can draft well, you can pay a lot of guys rather than putting all your money into a quarterback, you'll do just fine. And so, do I think that we have the ingredients with a very young defense and to be in that position? And we were in that position this year. The defense carried us all year.
Well, it did. I mean, it did that to an extreme. To the point where they were one of the worst offenses for weeks, and they still won 11 games. 215-592-9494. All right, Jason Avant in studio with us as we discuss it. So, Mannion, what do you know about him? What do you think about him? And obviously the scheme and kind of the concepts we think he's going to bring, that we're very familiar with right now in the NFL. What was your thought when they landed on Sean Mannion?
First initial thought is, why the hell did they do that? That's my first initial thought.
You probably weren't the only one, yeah.
To be honest, just because the league is about adjustments. And we saw a team this past year that could not make an adjustment to save their lives, especially on offense, right? So how do you get to a place where adjustments are easy for you? You hire veteran coaching. Mm-hmm. Veteran coaching can get you to be able to adjust on the fly because they've seen everything. There's going to be some stumbling blocks for this young coach. He may have games where he's dynamic, but there's going to be some stuff that he hadn't seen. And because he hadn't called those plays, there's going to be a learning curve. And guess what this city does not do a good job with?
Patience.
Does not do a good job. So I just think that it's a tough spot to put a young coach in. And so that was my initial thought.
So what do you think with them hiring the coach? And you know, we made a emphasis on how important it is to try to marry Jalen with somebody who understands his learning style. Mm-hmm. How do you think it's going to affect Jalen in this situation? What do you think by hiring Coach Mannion means when the Eagles hire a guy like that?
You're gonna hope that that the Malik Willis and Jordan Love maturation has something to do with this coach, and maybe he has a style of communication because quarterbacks are unlike every other position. Defensive end coaches or line coaches can yell at us, or receiver coaches dog walk us. You got to talk tender to a quarterback because he's very you have to talk very soft to a quarterback. And so I think he has a way of building up the quarterback in order to make him confident. Mm-hmm. But it's going to come down to doing things well. The thing that the Packers did well this past year was run well. They didn't do it as well this past year, but in years past is run the football. Yep. They had play action and they had down the field throws. I think Jalen throws a very good deep ball, if not one of the best in the NFL. So I think we're going to see more of that. I think we're going to see more play action. I don't know about quarterback runs because I think that's a Jalen thing. But as far as down the field throws, we'll see more of that. We'll see more outside zone, and we'll see more play action.